So tonight we're talking about rugs for your dollhouse. I'm going to talk about punch needle and braided rugs, and then Carol's gonna present two new ideas for us that I'm looking forward to. So, well, try to get this thing off the screen here. There we go. So I'm going to ask you to mute yourselves, or I will try to mute you at the end of the presentation, there'll be a question period, and hold your questions till the end or type them in the chat. Mute. Oh, here's Sunny. I'll let her in.
Okay.
Oh, somebody else. Everybody's late today.
Oh, I couldn't get in, Lucille. I waited and thought, okay, I'm exiting, and I came back and then I was on. So nothing happened the first time.
I saw you and I hit admit all and you disappeared.
Yeah, no, nothing changed on my screen.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna, I need to just take a minute here and get you all muted.
Okay.
Sorry, with the screen share on, I can't see the control. Can I get you guys to all just mute yourselves?
How do I do that?
Down at the bottom on your left-hand side, usually you can see a little microphone, and if you touch it, it will go to having a line through it, and you're muted.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start now. It's nice and quiet. That's great. So, and now my slides won't. So, I'm going to start with talking about punch needle. And punch needle's been around for a long time, usually used in real life projects to make decorative things for clothing or small plaques for the wall. But what we're going to talk about dollhouse. And what you need is an embroidery hoop, and it has to have a locking lip. You can get two-piece hoop stands, but I don't feel it's necessary at all. You need embroidery floss. We recommend DMC because of the color range is so great. You need fabric, and I'll talk about that a little more. You need a fine punch needle, and I'll talk about that quite a bit. So the interlocking lip is essential to hold the fabric tightly. And so one suggestion was you could line the ring if you can't get it tight. You can line it with moleskin. I've never tried this, but I've never had a problem with most hoops. They hold quite well. Get the largest hoop that you can comfortably hold. I'm going to show you the one I recommend. It's cheapest and has got a high assessments. And I would recommend at least an 8-inch hoop because that's what you would need to hold a 6-inch rug. You may want to do something bigger, and a 10-inch hoop would hold an 8-inch rug. Tighten up your fabric as you go along, and don't place the hoop over a stitched area. This will crush your punch needle loops. I recommend this one. I've looked around. This is the cheapest I could find. No shipping, available at Michael's, and very high reviews. And if you use a coupon, of course, you can get off. And it's the same price across all sizes. So that's why I recommend getting the biggest hoop that you can hold. And an embroidery hoop always comes in handy for other projects. This is the link on their website to look at it. And there are other types of hoops you can get. You can get a hoop that is stands on the table. This is a small one, and it only will hold up to a 5-inch rug. I don't recommend it at a price of $30. This one is reversible, so either a 7-inch or a 9-inch hoop. And I would only recommend getting this device if you're planning to do a lot of punch needle and you really don't like to hold the hoop in your hand. Sometimes holding the hoop makes your hand and wrist tired. Next important thing in discussing punch needle is even weave fabric, and we talked about this in a chat there last year. You need long threads, and you need the threads to be able to hold the so that the threads in the fabric hold your punch needle threads tightly. So you want the finest needle and the finest cloth. If you put in a big needle in fine cloth, it will rip the fabric. And I think that's happened to the odd person. If you try to put a fine needle in very loosely woven fabric, it's possible that the threads would fall out. So the usual thread we use is weaver's cloth. It's got long threads and it's got some stretch to it. You put the needle between the threads, you take the needle out, and the weaver's cloth threads will hold your embroidery floss in place. Another fabric that is recommended is quilting muslin. I looked on a few quilting store websites in Edmonton, and I couldn't find it. I do have a piece of it, however, and it is only slightly thinner. If you have this, this would be a great use for it. I've used weaver's cloth for dollhouse rugs without any problems. So if that's all you have, I think you'll be fine. The next thing that you're going to do once you have your fabric is draw or print your pattern directly on the back of the cloth. And you're going to put it on the back of the cloth because you stitch on the back of the cloth. And you draw your shapes in. Don't try what I did. Don't try to print your fabric in full color. It made the fabric very stiff and made the colors difficult to see when two similar colors were side by side. So I won't make that mistake again. This is an example of a pattern that's been drawn lightly on, this is quilting muslin. And the lines are, this is quite a blown up. This is only one small section of the pattern of a rug that's about 5 by 7. So you can see the lines are quite thin. And it's drawn on the back because you punch on the back or you stitch on the back. I recommend DMC. It comes in many colors. It's very available at Michael's. They have a huge range of colors at 79 cents a skein. And you will find you will use embroidery floss elsewhere in crafts as you go through the miniature world. So you draw your pattern on the back and you're going to punch on the back. And I want to warn you now, punch needle is only suited for 1/12 scale. There's no way to adapt it for quarter scale. The needle is very important. You need an extra fine needle and you want to match that up with finely woven cloth. A larger needle will tear holes in the cloth and a large fabric won't hold fine threads in a fine needle. I spent the last few months researching all the needles available, and I did actually buy a few, and I had other few commercially available ones. But the important part is the fine needle. And I couldn't verify that all the needles were fine. Cheap needles generally have very poor reviews and they break easily. The other advantage of punch needle is it's very quick. I'll show you some rugs that I stitch in one evening. In order to use your needle, you do need to have a threader. Most threaders are very, very fine and are interchangeable between different types of punch needles. And usually your punch needle will come with with at least one threader, sometimes as many as 3. Don't drop them. They'll be very hard to find. So you place your fabric tightly in the hoop, you thread your needle, and you use just one strand of the embroidery floss. And usually your punch needle does come with instructions for threading. But what you do is you pass the threader up the tip of the needle with the thread. So once the tip of the needle is up at the top of the Once the threader is up at the top of the needle, you pass the floss through it and then you pull it down. I actually have a video and it's easier to see. Each punch needle usually has the ability to adjust for the length of the hoop, and the shorter the hoop, the better off you are. Remember that the threader is very fine wire, and it's handy to have a magnet that you can store your threader on when you're not using it. This video is better play. Yes. So here I've got, this is my needle. It's got a fine slanted tip. This is my threader. I'm picking it up here, and I'm going to pass it up the tip of the needle until the loop at the tip of the threader is exposed, and then you're going to pick up your thread. This is one strand of embroidery floss. You're going to open up that loop, pry that loop open at the tip of the threader, and pass your thread through it. So you're going to catch the thread in that huge eye of your threader, and you might have to take a time or two to do it. All right, so now you've got the thread in the threader, loop through the top of the loop at the top of the threader. And the threader is still, the handle of the threader is down at the tip of the needle. You're going to pull on the threader, and you're going to pull the threads down through the needle. You only want to pull the short strand of the thread out. You want to leave a little bit of, in fact, the most of the thread, you want to leave back up at the top of your needle there. So I'm grabbing that thread, I'm grabbing the one long one, and I'm continuing to pull on the threader. I'm going to continue to pull on the threader until I've pulled that loop of thread down through the bottom of the needle. There's my threader. I've got it all the way out of the tip of the needle now, and I am removing the thread from the threader, and I'm going to be left with one piece of the thread at the tip of the needle and one piece of thread, the other end of the thread at the top end of the needle there. And I'm going to pull on the thread that's at the top of the needle. And there I'm left with a threaded needle. I didn't show you the end of the needle very properly, but at the end of the needle, there's just about 1.5 inches of thread. That's all you need to leave at that end, because the thread that's going to be punched into the pattern is going to come from that long loop that's up at the top of the needle. All right, so there I'm showing you again, there's my threader and needle. So other things to know about this very important needle. It has a hollow slanted tip. I don't know if you could notice that in the video. Always keep the slanted edge to the front of the needle. And you're going to keep turning your hoop and fabric to keep the slanted edge to the front of the needle when you're punching. Keep your needle as close to the fabric. Keep your stitches as close as possible. Even just passing your needle over 1 to 2 threads and then withdrawing it. The loops will appear on the underside of your stitching, which is the front of your rug. Start in the middle of the pattern and generally stitch around the central motif or pattern, outlining it. Use a thread that's no more than 48 inches long. The longer the thread, the more the risk of tangling. So once I've stitched the edge of the motif, then I will fill it in, keeping my stitches as close together. To change colors, you just clip the thread on the front side, short enough that it doesn't stick up. You don't want to catch protruding threads into your stitching. So here's my pattern. This is a pattern. This is a purchase pattern. And you can see that it's been printed onto, this is quilting muslin. And this is me with my punch needle And I've trying to keep the slanted edge in the direction I'm going. You can hear the punch I make as I enter the fabric. I move a few threads and I just stitch along that fabric. I'm just moving my thread a few, tiniest bit I can on the surface that I'm punching on. The loop will accumulate on the other side. And once I finished doing the two rows of edging that's required in this pattern, I will go on and fill in the motif with the color that's required for that. This one happens to have a dark colored edge and a lighter colored central motif. So once you get the rhythm of punching, it goes very quickly. So the next thing you're going to do is hold your rug up to a light and look for any thin spots and examine the the side with the loops and look for any areas that might do with an additional bit of colors and threads. Tina calls this paint by number stitching. You can always go back and fill any area that needs more loops. If you're happy with your rug, just take it out of your embroidery hoop. And I recommend using iron-on facing. Iron it on the back, covering your rug completely, leaving a bit of an edge around the edge of the rug, and then very, very, very carefully trim the facing back to the edge of the stitching with fine, sharp scissors. This finishing will give you the thinnest rug. I have seen people advocate using glue on the back, and I've seen rugs where glue has been used in the back. I don't like this. I didn't like it when I saw it. It thickens the rug, it stiffens the rug, and it looks shiny. It doesn't look like a real rug when you look at it from the back. So the use of the iron-on facing will give you a more pliable, realistic looking rug and cover up all the stitches that you put on the back of that rug. So these are a couple of rugs I made. I made this in an evening and it only took a few hours. First, and you can see how the importance of on the back where I'm going to do my actual stitching, I did the design exactly mirror image opposite to what I wanted it to show. And I just stitched I started with the central letters, then I stitched in all the white, and then I stitched the edging around it. And this took me only 3 or 4 hours one evening. This is another rug I did. I just made these up. Again, the back side shows the stitching side. I drew these letters on, and then I filled in around them, and then finally did the edging. And I haven't actually finished this rug. I probably should put another 3 rows around to finish. I want to say that these 2 rugs I've just shown you are not in any display. I still had them in my stash, having finished them, or almost finished this one. And they've been there for many, many years, probably 8. And they are totally fine. The loops are totally stable. They haven't come out. And you'll notice I haven't put any facing on these yet. The facing actually just gives it more of a pretty look when you finish it than actually be necessary to hold the stitches in place, because it's not necessary. So I want to talk about the needles. At the Tom Bishop show, I met a dealer finally I didn't get around to her stall till the Sunday. She specializes in punch needle and also in Mary Englebright decorations, for those that you like that style, for 1/12 Dollhouse. Her name is Carol Sherrill, and she makes and sells her own needles. These are made from medical needles, which she purchases. She tests each one, and they're specifically for house punch needle. There's no ability to adjust the size of the loops because the needle is preset to give a loop appropriate for dollhouse rugs. She sells a variety of punch needle kits, and the kits include the muslin, the thread, and the instructions. The kits are 20, 25, and 30, depending on the size. And I put her her website here because I couldn't find her. When when I type punch needle dollhouse into Google, she does not come up. There's something wrong with her site and it doesn't show up on the search engines. I told her this and she said maybe that's why her sales always drop off after a show because no one can find her. So so I've given you the link there if you want to look at her show, look at her stuff. This is a web shot of her products, and she has other things besides punch needle, but these are some of her punch needle things. And so there's a link to her shop again, and I've given some shipping prices there. If anybody wants to do punch needle, would be the needle I would recommend. I've worked with a similar needle in the past, and it's just the best needle. And so I would be willing to ask her if she would, do a bulk order on needles if there's any interest. And I'll send out an email about that after the workshop. So I'm going to stop there and ask if you have any questions. You can unmute yourself if you want.
Lucille,
Yes, Denise.
are you going to make available the PowerPoint from this?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. Everything that's there will be sent out.
okay, thank you.
I don't know if people have PowerPoint. If I will probably send it out as PowerPoint. If I send it out as a PDF, you won't be able to play the videos that are embedded in the slides.
You are recording this, right?
Yep.
So then if you send out the recording, it'll all be on that.
Yep, it should be. Yep, that's what my plan to do. Yeah, I will send the PowerPoint as the recording. Yeah. Any other questions before I move on to braided rugs?
No, it was good. Thank you.
Sunny had a comment and
Barb has something to show.
Barb, can you hold that until I do my second presentation? We've got 3 more to get through, so. All right, so I'm going to talk now about braided rugs. And braided rugs are suitable for either a quarter scale or a standard 1/12 scale. So that makes this a useful item to think about. Supplies are very simple. You need scissors, tweezers are kind of helpful. You need some strong tape like shipping tape, and you need the thread. Now for a 1/12 rug, I'm going to recommend the size 5. Pearl cotton comes in 4 sizes, but the size 5 and the size 8 are the only ones that would be suitable for braiding, and only the size 5 comes in multiple colors. I stopped in at Michael's to take a look, and they had a huge range of skeins of size 5 and only 3 colors in the 8, white, black, and red. So I don't know that you would be able to use the 8 unless you mail ordered it. And I think the size 5 would work fine. You can get more than one rug from the pearl cotton. So consider sharing skeins and swapping the colors with your friends. Now for the 1/4 scale, I recommend you use the DMC floss. And you're going to need at least 3 colors. So you will be using 3 strands at a time. And it could be same 3 colors to make a solid line, or it could be a mixture to make a tweed pattern. You could consider yarn, but I wouldn't recommend it. It wouldn't give you as much detail. So knitting yarn is not the best idea. So these are the colors. The higher the number of DMC pearl cotton for the 1/12, the thinner the thread. And I really think 5 is the best because of its thickness and because of its color range. So I picked up 3 skeins. These are number 5 skeins in 3 different colors. This looks kind of purpley here, but it's actually a deep maroon, a middle pink, and a very light pink. You want 3 colors that contrast quite a bit to give you a tweedy appearance when you want that. So this is an example of various kinds of braided rugs. These are, the picture here is of 1/12 rugs, but I'm going to talk a little bit about 1/4 scale at this time. So number one, look in your floss selection and see what you have. You can use 3 entirely different colors like red, green, and white. If you want to make a rug that's part of a color family, and I particularly like this one. This rug has only 3 different threads, colors of threads in it. It's got a very light, a medium, and a very dark blue of the same color family. And if you look at floss, you will recognize the families when you see them, because in Michaels, they keep the colors all the same. I've seen color families in blue, green, you can see several browns here. So you can pick whatever color family that you want. And it's best to choose 3 that contrast quite a bit, such as very light, medium, and very dark. And braiding, I mean, I went to a lot of work to describe braiding. I hope everybody knows how to braid. There may be people out who don't. So braiding these threads does require you to keep the braid flat. You do not want a round braid. You want a flat braid. So, and you're going to start your braiding, where you start your braiding will be the middle of the rug. So for instance, on my favorite blue one here, they started in the middle, probably with a mixture of 2 or 3 shades of blue, possibly only 2. It's hard for me to tell. And then you can start with 3 stands of different colors, 2 of one and 1 of another, whatever you like to get the color contrast you want. You have to remember that the more frequently you change the colors, the more rings that you add of different colors, the more color changes in the threads you are going to have to create. So this rug has only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 color changes, and that's not too bad. But the more rings you have, the more times you're going to have to change out the colors. And you may have to change all the colors if you go from, say, white to dark. So I went and looked at Michaels, and as I say, I recommend the Pearl Cotton Floss number 5. It's $2.99 a skein. Of course, you can use it with a coupon, but I'm gonna save a lot on that for a coupon, and you're only going to need 3 skeins. Now, you can trade lengths with friends because you buy so much at a time if you want to coordinate your colors. You'll have use for this cotton floss, Pearl Cotton Floss, after the fact. It makes very nice cording trim for pillows, other miniatures, and it does come in color families, so you can coordinate with your paint, your wallpaper, and your furnishings. I'm going to talk about starting your braid, and I'm going to start with the 1/4 scale. You start with 3 stands of embroidery floss, each no more than 24 inches. Sorry, I forgot to put the metric in there. And longer the strand, the more difficult it's going to be to control. I start by securing the 3 strands by tying a knot firmly at the end with a tail past the knot of only about 1.5 inches or 3.8 centimeters. I securely attach the start of the braid to a table. I find it easier to braid on a table. So you're going to have the braid attached to the table, and then you're going to start with 1 strand on the left, 2 on the right. And the only difference for a 1/12 rug is that you're using 3 strands of the pearl cotton. Otherwise, the instructions are the same. So you're going to braid, and I thought I should write this out, but you braid basically right. You take the outermost right, pass it over the central, central. Then you'll have 2 strands on the left and 1 on the right. Now you pass you keep passing back and forth, left to right, right to left, and keep your braid flat. Don't allow it to become round. And eventually, if you just keep going right over left, left over right, you will have all their colors back to the original position. As your braid grows, you'll have to periodically readjust the position of the tape. move your braid, pull the tape off, move your braid up on the table and attach it again with tape. So you'll do this every time you've braided 4 to 6 inches. If you're going to stop in the middle of your braiding, and it is kind of tedious, just put a clip on the end of your braid to hold the braiding edge and keep the tape on the knot edge, which the knot will also hold it in place. So this is, if I haven't explained the braiding very well and you don't know how to braid, this video shows excellent examples of braiding. So you can click on that YouTube and look at that. So it's important to remember that the rug has a top side and a bottom side, and you will always braid the rug with the bottom side of the braid up. You want to keep track of your bottom. You don't want to let the braid twist, because the bottom is where you will put your odd bits of the ends of threads as you change the color or add a new thread in. And so you always want to do that on the bottom side of your braid, and the bottom side is up. So what you do is to add a thread or to change a thread, braid until you need to replace an old thread or want to add in a new color, and fix in your mind where that old short thread is. Take the replacement thread and lay it on top of the old thread and braid the two as if they're one. You will do this until you've got you'll do right over left and under, left over right and under, until the color that you're adding in is back to its original location. You have braided enough that the braiding alone will now hold the thread in place. You do not have to tie a knot. You trim off the old thread. It should be just a short stubby piece. And you're going to continue braiding with the 2 original threads and the new one. And if you're going to be changing the complete color pattern of your braid, you may have to do this with all the threads, one after the other, in short succession. But with braiding with the floss, the braided parts are very short, and you won't really notice this color change. So we're back to this, back to a description of these again. So if you decided that you wanted to do a particular one of these rugs, I do have some directions that I could apply. I could send it to you, but only for the 1/12. These patterns were taken from a 1/12. If you wanted to do a similar pattern for the 1/44, you can still do the same thing. But as you braid, you will have to form your braid into a rug and decide when you want to make the next color change. Whether you've got enough of the, say, the tweedy inside and you now want to switch to thin dark braid, you will decide when you want to do that. So how do you design your rug? And one way is to shape it into the shape you want as you're braiding, and put masking tape on the back to hold the part that you've already braided in place. So let's go back. So let's say that you have done the tweedy part of this braid and you now want to switch to the purple. You're going to just basically shape this braided part into the shape you want, decide whether that's the right place to transition, and then do your transition. Now, you might find that difficult to hold in your hand, so the best way to do this is to simply start applying small pieces of masking tape from the middle of the rug where you started, and gradually as you go out and add the rings. And if you're happy with the progress of the design as you stitch, you can simply go directly to the glue stage and glue the edges of the braid with that with the ring that's inside that braid. But you can't undo this step. So if you're happy with the length of your braid and the transition of your colors, you can glue the braid to itself as you circle around that rug. So that's option number one. Glue as you go, side of the braid to side of the braid, no need for the masking tape. Option number two is use the masking tape and tear it off bit by bit, starting in the center and gluing as you go. I think option number one is the simplest and easiest, to be honest. Again, when you're applying the glue, start in the center and press the braid in place. So letting the glue dry in stages and only gluing in stages will help prevent the rug from falling apart if you're trying to handle it too much and glue too much all at once. So this is something that might take your time. I know waiting for glue to dry is difficult, but this would be a time when it's good to apply. A third option that's been given is to sew the braid into its shape in the rings. I haven't tried this and I can't comment on that. And certainly I wouldn't be my favorite, I don't think. Once you're done, again, there's the option of putting glue all over the back. Makes it shiny and stiff. I don't like that. Apply a piece of iron-on facing is the best way. It's not necessary to hold the rug together at this stage because you've glued or you probably glued your rings in place. But the iron-on facing makes the rug look much neater, and it's very thin, doesn't add any bulk like a layer of glue would. This is an alternate for making a braided rug. This woman cuts her braids off and glues them in place, and cuts the rings off and glues them in place. Haven't tried this, but you might find it an interesting video to watch. It also shows how to finish the rug with glue, and she uses a template to glue her pieces of braid in place. Haven't tried this, but I thought it might be something that the group was interested in. Okay, so we got through that. Any questions?
Nope.
None?
Nope.
Clear as mud.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so Andre asked, how many threads in the punch needle rug? Always you're going to be working, if you're working with a braid, you're working with 3 strands. When you're working with punch needle, you're working with 1 strand of embroidery floss, DMC embroidery floss. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, I am going to end my show, and I'm going to
Lucille, I wouldn't mind showing an example of a rug that I did.
oh,
Would
sure. We've
anyone
got
like
time.
to see that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, let's just get me up here and spotlight you. And this
Linda
is
Tanaka. Linda.
Linda. Ah, here we are. This is a rug you did in punch needle.
Correct.
It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Is that a kit you purchased from someone?
The printed part, yes, from a lady in Ottawa who she's passed away and I can't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
lovely. You
It
see
took
how
many years. It took years. And when you said you did yours overnight, I
but those were very simple ones. 2 colors. I mean, there was only 2 colors. So those were dead easy. I just wanted to show you what you could start with. This is a lovely example of what you can do with punch needle. And I do have some charts that are like this.
And you were right about the back because I put this tape on. It's really too thick.
You put tape on it, eh?
Oh no, I turned it over and glued it down. That's what
Oh.
it is.
You glued it down, and the glue does make it thicker, and it makes it kind of stiff. And if you don't mind that, that's fine. You know, I like my stuff to not just look realistic, but feel realistic. So
So
I'm not a
did you
big fan
mean
of the
to
glue.
put the iron on just right over the edge and then cut
Yeah,
close?
I would just have put you looks like you've got this right up to the edge, but you put a iron-on patch over the
Right off.
yeah, and then once you've ironed it on, then you very, very, very carefully trim without cutting any of your loops. But once you've put the iron on, I don't think your loops would pull out even if you accidentally snipped one or two.
Lucille, you didn't turn the edge under or anything. You just left
Nope.
it flat with the fabric sticking out, first of all, right?
Yep, you don't put an edge on either of those two types of rugs.
Right.
I do have another question about the braided rug. When the braided rugs were made originally, did they sew the coils together?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
so as they went along, they
Yeah.
thread running the other way? And
So, well, you would just, you just sew the edge of the braid to the edge of the braid. You're trying to make your braid flat, not round. So you're going to sew the edge to the edge. That's why I think with Dollhouse, the methodology of gluing edge to edge slowly and carefully is a better one.
Thanks.
One other thing I wanted to say is that Tina and I have been talking for a few months about having one of the things at a mini day out we could do is I will bring all my different punch needles and supplies and help anybody who wants to try it out, one of these techniques out, or help anybody who's got a problem. If you've got a problem with adding threads into your braided rug, we can go over how to do that in person for those people at least who are in the Edmonton area. So Tina's working on a date for that. Okay, well, I think I'm done. I think Carol's up.
That was good. Thank you.
Can you switch it over so that I can share my screen
You should be able to.
now?
Down at the bottom, you just hit the share
Okay.
screen and
Let's see what happens.
I don't have any restriction on that. So,
Okay,
there you go.
there I am. There
That's
it
so
is.
easy.
Okay. Well, mine is different. I'm old school and it's going to be hands-on. So, and it's live, so who knows what happens? So we will go from there. The first thing I'm going to start with, first of all, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I kind of did, and they'll work in any scale. You can just change the size of the canvas and the thread and stuff, so you can make it any scale, any size you want. And I'll show you one way, but use your imagination. You can come up with all kinds of ideas. Also, if you're looking for stitching supplies, it's in short supply around Edmonton, but Mr. Frame in St. Albert has a pretty good supply of most of the stitching threads and canvases and so on. So first of all is the mini faux rag rug. My grandma, of course, long ago on the farm, you wore the clothes, you handed them down until everybody had a chance to wear them, until they were worn out just to threads, and then she made them into rag rugs. And so this is kind of a very fake version of a rag rug. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. I made mine on 18 count mono canvas. I looked all over around Edmonton area. You can't get it, you have to order it. But at some of the, probably several places, you can get another type of fabric called waste canvas. And that is, you can see here, it's waste canvas. That's used for another kind of stitching. But when I did it, it worked. It looks presentable. And if you can't find that, I tried cross-stitch fabric, which is Ada. And it's 18 count Ada, and it's passable. A little bit more white shows through because, the stitches are crowded, but it works. So there are choices that you can use if you can't find the mono canvas. You'll need embroidery floss. Interesting, when you pull your length of embroidery floss out and cut it out or snip it, some people have trouble dividing the strands apart. They get tangled. An easy way to do it is to just take one strand, grab just one, and just pull it straight out, and it won't tangle. And so for this rug that I'm doing, I used 4 strands. So I pulled 4 different strands out. When I did this, to make it look old, I used 2 strands of a bright color and then 2 strands of, a neutral, a white and off-white, or what, whatever you happen to have. I used just old threads that I'd left over. So a bright color and then just some neutral, white, yellow, whatever. That gives it the worn look. For a needle, you want a needle that'll go through the holes but isn't sharp. You don't want to pierce the thread. This is a tapestry needle, about a size 22 or 20. So whatever works best for you. And then you're ready to go. The first thing I did was to draw an outline for the size of the rug that I wanted. After that, you've got your needle threaded with your floss. Tie a knot in the end, and I'm going to show you how to start using something called an away knot. To do that, you put your knot on the top of your fabric. You're going to cut it off later. Now we're going to start stitching across the fabric this way. So I'm going to put my away knot so it's someplace in this area and will get covered up by my stitching. So I'll put the needle down and leave the thread on top. You can see it's not too far away from where I'm going to be stitching. Now the instructions say that you start 2 threads down from where you can start at this corner or at the other corner, doesn't matter. If you look carefully, my line is you don't have to draw yours this dark, you can make it lighter. But this red line, I want to cover it, so I'll count that as 1 thread, 2 threads, and I would be coming up in that hole right there. So I'll do that now. I'll go underneath. There's the 1 thread I'm going to skip and the 2nd thread I'm going to skip. And I will bring my needle up there. Next, you count 2 threads back up. So you're back up to the hole where you started and put your needle down. There's your first stitch. The second stitch, just go to the bottom again, next door. Now, I hope you can see that. Next door, come up there. Go down next door to the first stitch. You are always going over 2 threads. So that's 1, 2, always going over 2 threads. And you continue that all the way across. Now, if you notice, as I've been stitching this, if you look at the back, I'm covering up that beginning thread. So it's getting anchored in there. Now I can just snip it off the front and be done with it and just keep covering it and it won't come undone. So same stitch all the way across, back and forth, 1 stitch, back and forth, back and forth. That's the start. I've got one here. As you're working along, you're going to come to the end of your rug as big as you want it. So I've got just a couple more stitches here to do. Over the 2 threads like usual, over the 2 threads. Now, if you are running short on thread, or if you want to change colors, all you do, you just go to the back and you just run your thread under, half a dozen stitches. Run your thread under there, snip it off. Now, if you want to go to the next row, and I'm going to take a different color now. When you start the second row, you go down, not in the, oh, can you see this? You don't go in the hole that you have filled. You go 1, 2 threads below that. So again, skipping 2 threads. You come up, and then you go back down in the hole that has a thread in it already. Go next door, come up, and go back down in the hole that has a thread in it already. Every time you are skipping 2 threads. And so that just goes back and forth, back and forth. And that's all there is to it. Now, of course, Grandma's scraps didn't always last for a whole row. So you can combine thread colors and change them and stop in the middle of a row. You can add a little bit of different color and stop, because her scraps would run out and she'd have to change colors in the middle of the row. So that is Grandma's rag rug. To finish it off, again, next, close to the thread, run a line of glue that touches the last thread and the canvas. So run a thin line of glue down all along your stitches, let it dry really well, and then you can trim off the canvas close. Can you see this? My camera doesn't want to focus. You can see the edges of the canvas there. If you don't like it, use colored pencil crayon and color it in, but it doesn't show. So like I said, this one isn't very big. You can make them big with heavier thread. Make them really small for quarter scale with smaller canvas and less thread. Now, suppose you don't want to make Grandma's rag rug. Instead, you could pick a color scheme and just do a striped pattern in your color scheme. Or if you want to do something fancy, this is the same thing. The only difference is now I made up a little pattern. When you're coming up, this is the original. You come up and then you come up next door and down over, same thing all the time. If you want to change it, make it fancy, you move down a little bit, come up in the hole, skip your 2 threads, go down. But next, you don't go next door, you move up 1 hole and go skip 2 threads. Then you come up, you don't go next door, you go up a hole and skip 2 threads. And you can make your own pattern. This happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and up and down all across. So that makes it more modern if you want a modern one. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? And it goes fast and it's easy to do. Now, questions on that one?
Carol, it's Linda. I have a question.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand how you finished it. You ran the glue up the side, and then did you just put your thread in the glue, or are you stitching into some glue, or I wasn't
When
sure.
your stitching is all finished, run the glue along the finished edge. If the glue touches the thread a little bit, that's okay. But make sure that there's a little bit of glue all along the edge. And I smooth it with my finger so it isn't, lumpy. After it's dry, you can trim it really close. Can you see how close this is trimmed?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you can trim it really close. Again, be careful not to cut your stitches. And there's nothing on the back. So that's how you finish them.
Thank you.
You can't put a fringe on this one unless you add it on extra. Okay. So that's that for the Grandma's rag rug. Now, the bunka snippet rug is kind of fun. I had some people visiting, and this is my Mary Engelbright half-scale hat box. In this hat box, you can see the little dug on the floor there. I'll see if I can get it closer. This rug even has a fringe. Oh, my camera, it doesn't like this very much. It has a fringe, and I'm going to show you how you can do the rug with a fringe. This is half scale. It is, there's my ruler here. It is under 1.5 inches wide and just over 2 inches long. So it's quite small. To do that, get my, you of course need bunka. If you haven't got bunka, I was told that Luba Barnes, that comes to our show in September, sells bunka. And if not, Ruth Stewart has a good supply of bunka. So, she could bring it up if you want bunka. So I decided to start another little one to show you. It is done on top of fabric. It can be cotton fabric, most any kind of fabric. This happens to be black because I was wanting to experiment to see how it would work on black. I first of all just kind of made up a little pattern, something that I thought would be fine, made up the size of rug I want and did a sketch of the pattern. And then I drew it onto the fabric. I had to use white pencil for this. Now, the normal way that we do bunka, of course, you take your bunka and you have to find an end and then pull it out so it ravels. You don't want to use it just as it is. You want it raveled. And the normal way we used to do it is you would put a line of glue down and then lay the bunka into that line of glue. And that was fine. It worked fine. But I wanted to do some small detail like this. So how do you do it? Well, I decided cut snippets. And so I took the bunka and my scissors and I cut up little tiny pieces of bunka. They're snippets. There they are. And you just take your bunka and just snip off little tiny pieces. You get them too small, they'll disintegrate, but that's okay. You can make more. Now, the designs on the fabric, the fringe will be here. You'll fray it. Now, you don't want to get glue on your fringe, so I covered it with masking tape. There'll be a fringe at each end. Then I won't get glue on there. Now, I've started this little design. I take my glue, a little bit of glue here. I just use tacky and a toothpick. I have started. Okay, let's get the camera going here. I started this middle flower. I think I'm going to work on this flower over here. I start in the middle, so I'm going to put the dark red center in the middle. Just put a little dot of white glue there. You need tweezers. You'll pick up one of your snippets of bunka and just set it in the glue. You can push it down into place. Oh, my lighting is terrible. There, got that in. Then I'm going to put the pink petals in. So put little dot of glue in there. Pick up a pink snippet. And, come on, snippet. And put the pink. Oh, my light is terrible here, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, Carol.
Okay.
Your lighting looks fine.
Oh, okay. You can push the bunka just right into that little space there, kind of maneuver it. And then you can do another petal. I won't do too much here because once you've seen one, you've seen them all. You can use 2 snippets if you need, however many snippets you need to make your pattern. I can do a leaf. I've got some green here. We can put a little leaf there. There's some green. Stay in there. There, it's kind of got a leaf anyway. So you can fill in the, hey, we've got the snippets done. To finish this one off, a couple of ways. Number one, again, you can run glue along the edge, let it dry, and cut it close to it. That's fine. I actually made about a tiny little hem and turned it over and glued it, and that worked fine. So goes quite easily. When you've got that all done and you're ready to do your fringe, then you just, I can't get the tape off now. Just take your tape off, cut this down a little bit, not quite as short as you want your fringe, but cut it a little bit, fray the edges, and then when it's all frayed down to where you want to stop, you can trim the fringe to the length that you want, and then it'll be nice and even. But that way you get a nice fringe on it, because it's not often that we can get nice fringes on our rugs.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think that's it. I like the bunka snippet. You can get some really, really small. Oh, I was showing you the size of the snippets. Is that when I bonked out? There's the snippets.
Wow. So Carol, would
tiny.
you fill the black background in with black snippets?
Yeah, no. If you can just use the threads like this and glue them down wherever there's room, I would do that, because to fill that whole back in with snippets would take a long time.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you do the straight strands like you did with that banding.
Yeah, wherever
Okay.
you can.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then in the small areas in here, you'd have to use snippets.
Right. Yeah, that would be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's quite fun. It's mine.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she's frozen again.
Yeah.
I'll just wait till she comes back, I guess.
Must be your internet provider for sure.
Yeah.
But what a cool way to do a rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't
really
quite
good.
understand how to do the fringe though.
Well, you know that on even weave material like that, once you start pulling these other threads off, they come off really easy, right?
Okay, that's all she did, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she did it down quite far, like further than the width you want your fringe, so then you could trim it all straight.
Okay, I got that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is Carol
Really-
back?
I really like the way it looks in the black, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Looks
nice.
really nice.
And it
Yeah,
shows up well
beautiful.
for us for a demonstration.
I guess something's going haywire with my. I don't do anything. It comes back on. So
That's interesting. Yeah, that's okay. We self-taught how you did the fringe. That was great.
Yeah.
And the colors are fantastic.
Yeah. Beautiful.
You get
Really great
beautiful-
tutorials, guys.
Yeah.
That method gives you a beautiful result quickly, doesn't it?
yes.
So you said that Ruth Stewart sells bunka?
Yes, she's got quite a bit on her website.
I know not even Amazon has it, eh? It's really hard stuff to come by these days.
Yeah, that's why, if you want some, Ruth is a good place. She had it listed on her website anyway, a whole bunch of colors.
I got a
Oh.
bunch on Etsy. Dragonfly International, Deb Lowers also sells it. And she
Okay.
has a variety of colors. And the shipping's fast, but it is a US outfit.
Was the Etsy one a US one?
Who bought it? Janet?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was Canadian.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe you could share the link with us then.
oh, good grief, it was like 2 years ago. So
One time I Googled bunka and came up with Japanese punch needle.
Yep.
And bunka is the mills are in Japan. And so they had a lot of things, but at that time it was during COVID and their shipment had been interrupted. So
This is how my bunker came with
I'm gonna
Japanese.
spotlight you, Sunny.
Okay. So back in the day when we were doing hats and stuff,
mhm,
mine came on these little labels,
yeah.
and it says it's bunker yarn, but one size says knitted. This knitted yarn can be loosened into crepe thread.
Ah, you know,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention one thing. Maybe I'll just use my camera and or, you know, I won't share screen anymore and just show you. Can you spotlight me, Lucille?
Yep.
You are. Yeah.
Okay. If you don't feel like drawing a design, I was going through my fabric stash, and if you can find some little fabrics with designs on that you like, just do the bunk over top of that. And you'll have rugs. Here's one that I found. It's black with pink flowers and green leaves. I didn't have to draw it.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
And
And then
this
if your
one,
bunker doesn't fit all the spots, it's got the color behind so you wouldn't see it.
right.
Yeah.
And this one is kind of interesting. It's black and white. You can do with that something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's if you don't feel like drawing.
So Carol, is this a technique that you learned about, or is this Carol's snippets? Did you?
I have
invent
no
this?
idea because, you know, I had some people over, and when they were looking at the quarter or the half scale box, they said, "How did you do that rug?" And I thought everybody had done it. Because didn't we have a class, somebody taught bunka rugs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Didn't they teach this?
It was before my time, Carol.
Oh,
the only one
okay.
I've seen
Yeah, they
Patty
did teach us we had somebody come in and do bunk. I think it was Jan Mann.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that's
I guess,
many moons ago.
yes, many. I guess the snippets are my invention, I guess then.
Yeah.
Carol Hartland did a little class. This is many years ago. That was actually, she did it on the top of a footstool, an ottoman, but it was that same type
I
of,
don't want to.
but she did not do the snippets. What she did was using the thread and just kind of winding it around to fill in holes.
Yeah. You can't get as fine detail that way.
Oh, you
Carol, would you go afterwards and trim it if you have some pieces a little bit higher than
If
others?
you want, yes, if you
Okay.
want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It certainly won't, it's glued in, it won't come out.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try quarter scale
Oh, yeah.
and see what I can come up with. That idea with fabric, because with fabric, the lines are finer than what you could draw it. So if you wanted quarter scale, you'd have a better chance with taking the design from a piece of fabric, I think.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, your drawing doesn't have to be very precise because you're just putting little bits of
Yeah.
snippets on it, so it doesn't have to be precise.
Yeah. No, it's really nice. I like that.
Okay,
Start
I
with
guess.
something simple like squares and stripes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but then what's the point of snippets for that?
Yeah, that's true. But in quarter scale, you can get away with tiny little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you could get a pretty small one in quarter scale.
Yeah. But it's just that it gives that carpet-like matting on the top.
Yes,
That
it does.
illusion. Yeah.
Barb
It's
has
good.
something for us.
Yeah, I'm going through all my magazines and I found this article on punch needle rugs, but it happens to be by Carol Sherry. I thought that was
Oh, that's
quite the
interesting.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I found another one. She does French knots.
Oh, wow.
That's
who's
pretty.
Nice.
Her name was Marnie Cardin or Cardin, I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, those are nice.
Yeah.
But the one from Sherry was in a 2018 miniature collector magazine.
Okay.
So,
Wow. Nice.
Can you imagine doing a million French knots and then get to the one less than a million and you can pull it through? You know how if you make a mistake, it ties in an actual knot about 3 inches away. That's what we do.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
For
have a
those of
funny
you
story.
interested in French knots, Teresa Lehman is I think the most well-known name in that.
I have a funny story to tell you about braiding. So back in my brown owl days, I never knew it, but I always do my braiding overhand. So I put my thread under, not over. So I taught all my brownies all those years. How old am I? 70? My God, 40 years ago. To braid like that. And I didn't figure that out till I was about 50 years old when somebody said, well, what are you doing? You don't braid like that. You have to put it to the front like this. Well, I was so embarrassed, I can't even tell you. And just thinking about it now, it makes me embarrassed.
jeez. Oh, gosh.
The braids still look fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys for those tutorials. They were wonderful.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, Lucille, I want to tell you my hack on doing the braided rugs. I don't like to braid, but I could crochet a chain like nobody's business. So I use all the same supplies as you, but I just crochet it. So
Oh,
instead of doing a braid, I just continue to crochet it. And I find it easier when I crochet to just slip stitch the next color on.
oh, yeah.
My problem, Lisa, is I'm left-handed, so I've never learned to crochet. And till I was 24, I knitted backwards. So
Yeah.
these were good for me.
I just can't imagine how much patience it would take to do a braided rug and actually make braids. So,
Well, we did this as a workshop in when we were having in-person meetings, and every single person finished their rug.
Yeah.
But it was mostly quarter scale.
And it was the first time everyone had finished a project in the allotted time.
Oh, gosh.
Could I show you one other thing? This is the simplest way to make rugs. You see that?
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Now I can't get it close enough. You can actually see.
See it? Yeah.
Actually printed on velour paper. You can buy it on Amazon. It's called velour paper. And one of the things I sell in my Etsy store is grab bags of quarter scale carpets. That's what I've been doing all night, was listening to you guys and cutting out miniature carpets.
Oh, wow.
Especially in quarter scale. They're very thin, and it's velour, so it actually looks like fabric, but you can get the real details. See, I've even got a lion and
oh, wow.
Oh, that's
nice. Yeah.
You gotta keep cutting, Tina, and put those on your sales table at the show and sell.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they usually are there. They're in little bags, grab bags for 6 of them. So, and
yeah,
I go to a lot of them. So every once in a while, I have to sit down like tonight and spend hours.
I bought some of those from you, Tina.
Anyway, I wanted to speak up for those who like to print things. As a pair of scissors.
Oh.
But you can't get a fringe.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
I have a couple items for show and tell if you're interested.
Vic?
If it's okay, Lucille. So I have a couple
That's
items.
more? Okay, sure.
So I went with Lisa to the miniature, well, there was the antique doll and show and sale at the
antique mall on Saturday. And I ended up getting a beautiful little porcelain doll.
Oh, pretty.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Came a little romper,
Yeah.
some books. And I found this little tray and napkin and flower and plate. And it is actually made by a person by the name of Maureen Candy that belonged to the Miniature Club.
oh,
Yeah.
And I did get a few little other various miniatures, and then actually got
Oh, wow.
velvet.
oh,
And Lisa made me the most adorable little crocheted dress and purse for her.
Oh, isn't that
my
nice?
Very
wonderful.
good.
Wow, nice.
So
Yeah.
that's my unique stuff from the antique sale. And I got a
Hmm.
beautiful little Lundby rug in that's really pretty.
Oh, wow.
that's very
Nice, yeah.
That is pretty.
Very, wow.
So that was my foray at the miniature sale and dollhouse stuff.
So the dollhouse show that's happening at the Old Strathcona Antique Mall runs until the 21st, and they do have a remarkable amount of miniatures there. It's like
Oh,
way
wow.
more than what you guys would expect, and it is really a beautifully put together little show that they did. Like each of the tables are all color coordinated, and it's really actually worth it. Doesn't cost anything, of course, to go in. And it's I'd say really worth the trip, guys. So if you have time to go before the 21st,
Where
it's
did you say it was, Lisa?
it's at the Old Strathcona Antique Mall.
Okay.
So
On
yeah,
Way Boulevard at about 80th Avenue.
Yeah.
yeah.
But Lisa and I had a ball.
Yeah, it was really a nice time.
Just press that thing and then.
Whereabouts is it in the antique mall?
As soon as
More or
you
less near the front of the store, like by the cafeteria. There's a little cafe there, and there's in that section there. And some of the booths, not all of them, but some of the booths have a few little snippets of miniatures as well. And so
dolls.
there's a variety
It's
of
just
stuff.
I can't walk a great long distance.
Yeah,
So
most of it's right by the front of the store, just by the cafe area, so it's really close by.
okay, that
As
works.
soon as soon as you walk in the door, it's immediately to your right. And you wouldn't have to walk the entire store. As a matter of fact, while I was there, because I filmed, I just stayed in that area the entire time. And there's a lot to look at. It was really nice.
Okay, thank you.
Erica, should I stop recording?